The story of Samson begins during one of Israel's darkest times. For 40 long years, the Philistines had oppressed God's people, and hope seemed lost. But in the small village of Zorah, a miracle was about to happen. There lived a man named Manoah and his wife, who had never been able to have children. One ordinary day, everything changed when an angel appeared to her with astonishing news. Even though you've been unable to have children, you will soon give birth to a son. He must never cut his hair, because he will be dedicated to God from birth. He will begin to rescue Israel from the Philistines. When she told her husband, he prayed for confirmation, and sure enough, the angel returned to repeat this incredible promise. Soon after, just as foretold, she gave birth to a son and named him Samson. From his earliest days, it was clear there was something special about this boy. As he grew, the Spirit of God began working powerfully in him. Now let me tell you about the first time Samson's supernatural strength showed itself. As a young man, he was traveling to the Philistine city of Timnah when suddenly, without warning, a full-grown lion came roaring out of the bushes straight at him. Most of us would have been terrified, but the Bible tells us the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon Samson in that moment. What happened next was unbelievable. With his bare hands, he grabbed that lion and tore it completely apart like it was nothing more than a young goat. And here's something interesting. He didn't even tell his parents about it. That's how extraordinary this was for him. Just another day in the life of Samson. Sometime later, when Samson passed that same spot again, he noticed something strange. Bees had made a honeycomb inside the lion's dried-up carcass. He reached in, scooped out the honey, and ate some as he walked along. He even shared some with his parents when he got home, though he carefully left out the part about where it came from. This was just the beginning of Samson's incredible feats. Soon after, he fell in love with a Philistine woman and insisted on marrying her, despite his parents' concerns. At the wedding feast, he made a bet with 30 Philistine guests. Let me tell you a riddle. If you can solve it within the 7 days of the feast, I'll give each of you a fine set of clothes. If you can't, you each owe me a set. Then he gave them this riddle. Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. For 3 days, the Philistine men struggled unsuccessfully to solve it. Finally, they went to Samson's new wife and threatened her. Get the answer from your husband, or we'll burn down your father's house with you in it. Terrified, she went to Samson in tears day after day, begging for the answer. Eventually, worn down by her pleading, he told her the secret. Of course, she immediately told the Philistines. On the 7th day, they came to Samson with the answer. What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? Samson knew immediately they had cheated. Furious, the Spirit of God came upon him again. He went to another Philistine town, killed 30 men, took their belongings, and gave the clothes to those who had solved his riddle. Then, in his anger, he abandoned his wife and returned home. Later, when his anger had cooled, Samson went back to make things right with his wife. But he got a shocking surprise. Her father had given her to another man. I thought you hated her, her father explained. Here, take her younger sister instead. This betrayal sent Samson into a rage. He vowed revenge against the entire Philistine nation. That night, he captured 300 foxes, tied their tails together in pairs with torches, and set them loose in the Philistines' grain fields. The resulting fire destroyed their entire harvest. When the Philistines learned Samson was responsible, they retaliated by burning his wife and her father to death. This only made Samson more determined. Since you've done this, he declared, I won't stop until I've paid you back. He attacked them mercilessly, killing many before retreating to hide in a cave. The Philistines demanded the Israelites turn Samson over to them. 3,000 men from Judah came to arrest him. We're just going to hand you over to them. They assured him, we won't kill you ourselves. Samson agreed to surrender on one condition, that they promised not to attack him themselves. When the Philistines saw him bound with ropes, they began celebrating. But suddenly, the Spirit of God rushed upon Samson again. The ropes snapped like they were made of paper. Looking around for a weapon, Samson spotted a donkey's jawbone lying on the ground. He grabbed it and single-handedly killed 1,000 Philistine soldiers with that simple bone. Exhausted and dehydrated after this incredible feat, Samson cried out to God for water. Miraculously, God caused water to spring from a hollow place in the ground, reviving Samson's strength. Now we come to the most tragic part of Samson's story. Despite his incredible victories, his greatest weakness wasn't armies or wild beasts. It was women, and this weakness would ultimately lead to his downfall. Samson fell in love with a woman named Delilah. The Philistine rulers saw their chance. They went to Delilah and offered her an enormous bribe, 1,100 pieces of silver from each of them, if she could discover the secret of Samson's strength. So Delilah began questioning Samson. "Tell me, what's the secret of your great strength? How could someone tie you up and subdue you?" At first, Samson played along with her. "If I'm tied with 7 fresh bowstrings that haven't been dried," he said, "I'll become as weak as any other man." That night, when the Philistines tried this, Samson easily snapped the bowstrings. Undeterred, Delilah tried again. "You lied to me? Tell me the truth," she demanded. So Samson gave her another false answer. "If I'm tied with brand new ropes that have never been used, I'll lose my strength." Again, when the Philistines tried this, Samson broke free effortlessly. Still Delilah persisted. "How can you say you love me when you keep deceiving me?" she cried day after day. Finally, worn down by her constant nagging, Samson revealed the truth. "My hair has never been cut because I've been dedicated to God since birth. If my head is shaved, my strength will leave me." That night, as Samson slept with his head in Delilah's lap, she called for a servant to shave off his 7 braids. Immediately, his strength left him. When the Philistines came to capture him, he thought, "I'll shake myself free as before." But he didn't realize the Lord had departed from him. The Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes, and took him to Gaza in chains. There, they forced him to grind grain in prison like an animal. But as time passed, something remarkable happened. Samson's hair began to grow back. One day, the Philistine rulers held a great celebration in their temple, sacrificing to their god Dagon and boasting, "Our God has delivered our enemy Samson into our hands." The temple was packed with about 3,000 men and women on the roof, all watching as Samson was brought out to entertain them. Blind and weakened, Samson asked the servant leading him to place his hands against the 2 central pillars supporting the temple. Then he prayed what may be the most heartfelt prayer of his life. "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more and let me get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." With all his might, Samson pushed against the pillars. The temple shook violently. Then, with a thunderous crash, the entire structure collapsed, killing all the Philistine rulers and thousands of others. In his death, Samson killed more Philistines than he ever had in life. Samson's story is one of the most dramatic in the Bible. A man gifted with supernatural strength, yet brought low by his own weaknesses. But even in his failures, God's purposes were accomplished. His life teaches us powerful lessons about the dangers of pride, the consequences of compromise, and the amazing truth that God can redeem even our biggest mistakes. If Samson's story has inspired you, imagine what we could do by bringing more biblical accounts to life through animation. That's our mission, to create engaging, high-quality videos that make these timeless stories accessible to everyone. Your support can help make this possible. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so others can experience these incredible stories too. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.